Hello, welcome to this edition of Editor's Notebook. My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm executive editor for the Herald-Standard. With us today is Scott Cavinee. Scott is a realtor, and you've been a realtor for a number of years, and now you're president for the Fayette County Board of Realtors. And why don't you just maybe give a little bit of your background, how long you've been in the business, and
Sure.
you know, maybe what kind of got you into to being a realtor?
Sure, Mark. Thanks for having me. I have been licensed in Fayette County. I've been licensed in Pennsylvania for about 20 years now. 13 years ago or so, a co-realtor talked me into getting involved with the Fayette County Board of Realtors, Sandy Brittingham, who is still active. I worked my way up through the ranks and became president back in 2005, I believe. But and then again, I went through the whole process again, and I'm the current board president. Something that I enjoy doing. It's part of being. It's a great part of being. It's great to be a part of the association, is what I want to say.
And what does the association do? What's its mission, or
Well,
what are you trying to accomplish?
we belong to the Fayette County Board. We also belong to the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors. And the reason for being a part of the board is, whether it's the National or the Pennsylvania Association, is to be a realtor. You can have a real estate license and not be a realtor. But what a realtor does that differentiates them from a real estate professional is we subscribe to the National Code of Ethics. And the Code of Ethics was ironically established 100 years ago this month. We are celebrating our 100th anniversary of the Code of Ethics. And that's an ever-changing code that continues to change every year with the new situations that arise with real estates. Right now we are developing new aspects to the Code of Ethics for people who are using the internet to promote homes, and there are certain things that we can do and not do on the internet. But the Code of Ethics is designed to protect realtors from other realtors and to protect the consumers from realtors. And if you find that you have a problem with another realtor as either a consumer or a realtor, you can file grievance.
With the board?
You file the grievance with the local board, and then they pass it along to the state, and then the state will do an investigation. And if the state feels that it's a valid complaint, they will pass it along to what we call the professional standards. And the professional standards will have a trial of sorts to determine if there should be a penalty applied. If you, as a consumer, feel that your realtor has harmed you, either in negotiations on a house or has taken advantage of you, we do have our own internal way of rectifying the situation.
But you actually don't do the investigation. You just more or less pass it along.
Well, I also am part of the statewide grievance committee. So when there is a grievance, I and a panel of 4 other people, there's 5 on the panel, will listen to the grievance, and we decide whether it is a true grievance or not. When we finish with it, it gets passed along to the professional standards. The professional standards, they will have a trial, sort of, and determine if somebody was wrong, determine if someone has been wronged. And they have penalties set in place. I believe the highest penalty is $10,000 to the realtor. Your license will be removed, and you will not be able to practice until you pay the penalty. Yeah, it's just a nice deterrent.
Yeah.
And that's the major difference between somebody who's a real estate agent and somebody who's a realtor. So as realtors, we feel that consumers should only work with realtors.
That's an important difference
It is.
there.
Now, as far as I know, Fayette County, I don't believe we have any just agents. I believe that everyone in Fayette County subscribes to the Code of Ethics. So I don't think we have to worry about that too much here in our area.
Well, that's good. That's certainly good to know. Well, what are some of the ethical things that do come up, or what maybe distinguishes like a valid complaint or whatever?
Well, realtor to realtor, it could be a situation like a realtor feels that they were the one that was procuring cause to a sale, and by procuring cause, they are the one who brought the transaction into being. But then another realtor might step in and try to take the buyer from the realtor who feels that they were the ones that...
That's not good.
It's not good, but it does happen from time to time. As far as I know, and I believe I'm accurate, there have not been any grievances filed in Fayette County, ever.
That's good.
It is good. We work with a good group of people.
Yeah.
I think Fayette County, the residents of Fayette County are very lucky to have the Fayette Board of Realtors. We have a lot of great realtors in our area. We have a lot of great agencies, and I think that the residents are very fortunate to have the realtors that we have.
Do you try and maybe educate realtors about?
We do.
What look for, or what?
We do. We have a meeting. Typically, we have a meeting once a month, and we talk about the trends happening, and we talk about violations, and we talk about changes in our contracts that we use, and we try to keep the realtors educated here. It's we also use email a lot. For example, July 15th, we have a couple of new forms that are going to be implemented, as well as some changes to our standard agreement of sale. So already all of our offices have been informed of these changes that are happening, and then it's on the individual brokers to make sure that the realtors within that office are aware of it. But I think that we do a great job here.
And what would you tell people, to maybe what would be a red flag if you're dealing with a realtor or somebody with a house or an issue? What are some of the things to be concerned about?
I think one of the most common issues that I hear about, and it's not necessarily a violation of the Code of Ethics, but I talk to a lot of consumers who have signed contracts and not necessarily known what they were signing. But again, that could just be the consumer. That's not necessarily the realtor's fault.
Right.
I do notice when I'm going over
But you would tell people to make sure you
make sure you know what you're
read.
signing, because they'll call and say, "Hey, I think that I've been wronged," and my knee-jerk reaction is to say, "Well, I don't have access to your contracts to see what you signed."
Yeah.
But typically, whatever's happening is already in that contract, and,
Yeah.
and you're just not aware of it. You didn't study the contract well enough.
I guess you probably would prefer that they do, so then nobody can come back and
Absolutely.
say, well, what's, and you're like, well, you agreed to this.
Absolutely. And when I became a realtor, in 1993, our contract, I believe, was 3 pages long. And now the contract is 11 pages long, soon to become 13 pages long on July 15th. So they
Paperwork, it's
yes,
everywhere.
they just keep putting more and more into the contracts, and no buyer or seller wants to sit and hear everything that's on the contract. So we try to hit the important parts and try to condense our explanation a little bit. You do see a point after page 3 or 4 where they just glaze over. They're just not.
Yeah, I think I was maybe page 2.
That happens.
But, so just tell people kind of, I guess, just make sure you do read it, make sure you understand it. Maybe if you have questions, probably just
Yeah,
ask.
absolutely.
Ask the realtor.
Absolutely. I want you to ask me questions. No matter what day into this, typical closing is 45 days. No matter what day we are, call me and ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there and wonder what's happening. Just
Mm-hmm.
let's do this as a team. Let's work together as a team.
Mm-hmm. What are people? What are the questions they have most about it? Is it the finances, or is it?
I would say one of the most common questions that we get from a seller is when we're talking about inspections. They want to know who's paying for the inspections. Everything in the real estate market is negotiable. The commissions are negotiable. The term of the contract is negotiable. Who pays for inspections is not commonly negotiable, but can be negotiated. Typically, a buyer pays for all their own inspections. They choose their inspectors. They pay for their inspectors. It might, that way the inspector, they are the client of their inspector. And
That makes sense.
I don't necessarily think that you want the seller to be the client
right.
of an inspection.
And probably if somebody says, well, if the seller says, well, I'll get somebody to inspect it, you probably, no,
Yeah.
you want your own person. to
You want your own
inspect it.
person.
Right.
And that, that brings us to another subject. Sometimes when we are dealing with a power of attorney or we are dealing with an executor of an estate who is not obligated to fill out a seller's disclosure, sometimes I recommend that they have a home inspection. And a seller's disclosure now is a 9-page document that asks maybe 100 questions about the home. Well, they're exempt from filling out the seller's disclosure. So I will recommend that they have a home inspection so that they can give it to the buyer in lieu of an inspection. And it's all for liability. We don't want our sellers to be liable for problems with the house, especially if the seller never lived in the home.
Mm-hmm.
If you're selling your grandmother's house who passed away and you never actually lived in your grandmother's house and you don't know how to properly fill out a seller's disclosure, maybe you want to have a home inspection done so that you can pass that along to the
Check
buyer,
that out. Yeah.
make the buyer a little more comfortable. Another thing that goes hand in hand with that is a home warranty. I've had executors have home inspections and purchase a home warranty for the buyer. It just makes your buyer feel a little bit more comfortable, like they know what they're buying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got off subject there.
Okay, we're at that. We're going to take a break right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to this edition of Editor's Notebook. My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm executive editor for the Herald-Standard. With us today is Scott Cavinee. Scott is a realtor, and Scott is president of the Fayette County Board of Realtors. And so in the first part of the show, you were talking about the Board of Realtors and how it works and how, I guess its main thing is concerning ethics and make sure that everything is being done properly, and also make sure that realtors are up on different things with the law and what's going on and that sort of thing. But one of the things we're talking about, it just, we did talk about your experience, that you've been a realtor for 20 years.
20 years.
You said, and now you're with SWC Properties here in Uniontown. But, talking about before the show, and I know you just have such a passion for it in real estate and just talking about real estate. And, anywhere you go, people always want to talk about real estate.
Right. Yeah.
And because it's just something that's very interesting, even if people, I have bought my house back in '85 and no real plans to sell or anything, but I'm always looking around to see what's selling, and particularly houses on in our neighborhood, and values and all that kind of stuff, because it's of great interest. And so anytime when you do hear maybe a house selling for a good amount of money or
Right.
whatever, so what is the market? What are we looking at now? Maybe compare it to a year ago or whatever. Is the things getting better? Do you think?
Yes, the market's great. I feel it's great. I've been, like I said, I've been selling for 20 years, seriously selling for the past 15, 16 years. But I brought along some numbers because I think it's interesting. Today is June 21st, and as of this date, this year, we've sold $48 million in property, and that's the entire board.
And that's in Fayette County.
That's just in Fayette County, $48 million. And our average sales price so far to this date is $110,000, which is very nice. And that's up about $12,000 for the average sales price from this time last year.
Which is pretty good.
It's very good, and it's up $4 million in sales from this time last year. So I think we're looking at a 10% increase from last year to this year, which is one of the largest increases I've seen in our market. Back in 2000, the average sales price was in the 70s, and the total volume was around the $64 million mark. So I think we're looking up here in Fayette County. It's an exciting part to be a resident of the
good
county.
News, good news to hear there. Yeah.
It is. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Not just for us as realtors, it's exciting for the homeowners and for the county in general.
Sure.
I just recently heard that every time a home sells, there's an average of $8,000 in additional spending done after the home sale by the purchaser. Whether they're buying new carpet or draperies or appliances. So real estate sales doesn't just help the sellers or the realtors, it helps the economy as a whole. You have people coming in and they don't want to live with someone else's carpet, they replace the carpet, or they feel it's a time to buy new furniture, they buy new furniture or new appliances, or they fence in the yard. So it's just great news for everybody.
Right, good for the economy overall there.
Oh, the overall economy, right.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You really think about it that way. What types of homes seem to be selling better? If you're a buyer, what would you tell a buyer to be looking for these days?
Well, just during the break, you were speaking of your home buying experience, your own home buying experience, and you were looking for a home that was move-in ready. So a move-in ready home is always our best seller. You were saying as a first-time home buyer that it was going to take pretty much all of your funds just to get into the home, and you wouldn't be able to update it after you were in it, and that is what sells best. A home that's updated and ready to go, well-maintained, that's what we sell the best. That's what brings in the best price. Sometimes I'll meet with a seller who wants to sell, and everyone asks, what can I do to increase my price? And I don't have a problem saying, perhaps you should put in new carpeting, or perhaps you should paint the walls. And those that do, and there's a nice number of people that do follow the advice, and they're rewarded with a quick sale typically. I've asked people to replace roofs on their house because the roof is nearing the end, and for a first-time home buyer, it's a little daunting to buy a home that might need a new roof or heating system. You just want to make that home as ready to go as possible, and you will reap the reward.
Yeah.
You will.
I guess just kind of the overall appearance too. Maybe even the shrubbery and that sort of thing kind of helps out there.
Well, today's article in the Herald-Standard is about air conditioning.
Right.
Air conditioning is one of the top, it might be number 2 of what people look for in purchasing a home, is having central air conditioning. I believe last week was landscaping and how important landscaping is to selling your home. Most buyers want to drive past a home before they actually want to go into it. So I tell my sellers, I said, it's my job in marketing your home to get these people to drive past your house, but it's your job as far as maintaining the front of the house and having curb appeal to want them to come into your house. And putting it in those terms, I think they understand what I'm saying, and they do. They'll keep their grass cut, the bushes trimmed, and keep junk out of the yard. I've had people in the past rent storage facilities to move excess things from their home to make it appear, make it more appealing. Right.
Yeah, I think of some of the stuff we got in our house over the years, you just tend to accumulate a lot of stuff. You know?
We're all guilty of that. We are a nation of stuff. And the more room we have, the more stuff we have.
You fill it up, that's for sure.
But I guarantee you walk through that house and you look at things and you're thinking, oh, I really don't need that. Back and go.
But what about what types of houses? Is it more the upper end that are selling, or is it more the middle, or what maybe does Fayette County have more of, or what could Fayette County use more of?
I say that our bread and butter is 120 to 200,000. With the interest rates today, it's amazing, how low your payment can be. $120,000 mortgage will give you somewhere around a $600 to $700 principal and interest payment. So that's nice.
That's not too bad. Yeah.
No, I know a lot of people will pay $700 a month rent, and I'm sympathetic to that. I feel you need to get yourself financially sound and stop paying that $700 a month rent and find yourself a home.
Yeah. Nothing like buying a home, huh?
Nothing like buying a home. It's probably creates more pride than most other things you can do in your life. Owning your own home. Yeah. Except for maybe your children.
Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. Then why would you be paying something that you don't? At least once you buy that, then it's yours.
That's right.
Or maybe not yours right away, but
it's still yours. It's still yours. I love working with first-time home buyers. I love showing them what we can do and how to get themselves out of that rental and into a home. And they're probably the most enjoyable segment of the population to work with. On the other hand, when you have a seller who wants to downsize, that's a tough situation because they have an emotional attachment to their home, and they're going to have to give up some of their possessions to make that downsize work, and it's a little harder to do that one.
Yeah.
So.
Do you see a lot of that nowadays, or
downsizing?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that we do a lot of downsizing. People like to stay in their home until they're pretty much not able to stay in their home anymore, and then they sell it. I am working with a lady now that wants to downsize, and her reason is she feels she's reaching a point in her life that she cannot maintain her home and keep it the way it is. It's pristine right now, and she wants to give it up while she is able to. She wants to give it up before the point comes that she can't maintain it, and she is pretty much the exception to the rule. She's a wise person. We can talk about stories all day long. One of the nice things about being a realtor is no matter what social event you're in, or if you're participating in a fundraiser, you can always have conversation with somebody. Everybody enjoys talking about real estate.
Right, definitely, yeah. What about the first-time home buyer? What kind of tips do you tell them? When is it a good time for maybe somebody, or that's looking? Is it the job that found maybe they feel secure in the job, or what do you tell them to When should you look for?
The most important thing you can tell a first-time home buyer is to contact a lending facility, a lending institution, and get yourself qualified. That is the most important. They need to know if their credit is established. Some first-time home buyers have no credit established. They need to know if there's a flaw in their credit score that needs to be corrected. You know, maybe an old medical bill from a few years ago. But contact your lender. We have a lot of great lenders in the Uniontown area. Contact your lender. Find out your ability to buy. They'll give you a price range to work in, and then go shop for a home. Because we don't want you shopping in a range that you can't afford. It's not good for. It's just not good for you. If you're looking at $100,000 houses but can only afford a 60, it's going to be hard to. Yeah. So get yourself pre-qualified. Then find yourself a realtor you feel comfortable working with. And like I said earlier, we have a lot of great realtors in this area. A lot of great real estate offices, and they will do everything they can to help you find your home. Get pre-qualified.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap up our show today. I want to thank Scott Cavinee, and he's president of the Fayette County Board of Realtors. And you have a phone number, maybe if anybody would have a question just about the board or anything concerning being a realtor.
The board number?
Or just your number, whatever.
Sure. Well, my office number is 724-425-7300. Feel free to give us a call. We're happy to help you in any way we can.
Okay, I want to thank Scott Cavinee for being on
Thank you, Mark.
Show today. And I want to thank you out there for watching. My name's Mark O'Keefe. I'm executive editor for the Herald-Standard, and we'll see you later.